Use the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley?
An undocumented person. I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look.
350,000. What's that number stand for? 350,000 migrants, illegal aliens here, not legally, walked across the border. We have no idea who they are. 350,000 migrants, quote unquote, illegal aliens, asylees, so to speak, is what they're trying to reclassify them as, undocumented or asylum seekers, when we all know at the bottom line is we don't know who these people are. The Biden administration has never been more easily impeachable. 350,000 migrants. Biden administration just offered mass amnesty to 350,000. So the news that we're going to cover today, and this is starting to go viral, and it needs to, because there's been so many things that Joe Biden has been, we've all been saying, Joe Biden needs to be impeached for this. This, going along with the border invasion, how we've all assumed that they're doing this so that they can get votes. The deep state stays in power forever if they subvert the will of the people. If our elections are fake, well, our country is lost. And after we saw Donald Trump, this happened at the same time Donald Trump gets 34 guilty verdicts on his sham hush money trial. So, the Biden administration offers mass amnesty to migrants as it quietly terminates 350,000 asylum cases. We're going to watch a video here in a second, but this all thief in the night type of stuff is what they're doing. They make a big push to throw Trump in prison, and they go and do what? This, and then Joe Biden authorizes use of military force in Russia. So World War III, our country has known terrorists in it that they're just letting go. So the Biden administration is attempting to look like it's getting tough on the border. Behind the scenes, its operating program of mass amnesty for migrants. Why is this troubling? Well, a reasonable person could assume this is a nightmare. Who would ever think this is a good idea? Well, anyone with a brain wouldn't. We'll get into why this is so terrible for our country outside of all the common sense stuff and make a little more sense. Because amnesty is a word that all of us know, all of us hear, but do we really know the meaning of it? And what is the significance in this particular scenario? Because essentially, these are people who aren't going to be paying taxes. They're getting free money already. So what does it mean if they are walking around without an amnesty
attempted
case?
to breach the Quantico military base.
We're going to watch this video here.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan sending a letter to the
It's
Department
just
of Homeland Security
unbelievable
Secretary Alejandro
that this
Mayorkas,
is something that we're
asking about men's
experiencing in the
immigration
United States
status
of
and
America.
processing history. Joining me now is Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany. He's a member of the House Judiciary and Republican Study Committees. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. I want to get your take on the wide open border. In terms of these two Jordanian nationals that tried to get into Quantico, do we know if they entered America through the wide open border?
It certainly appears so, but that's why we want to get answers. I mean, terrorism, Maria, has always been the #1 concern. I mean, fentanyl and the human trafficking that's going on is just horrible for America and for the people that are trying to come into America from around the world. But terrorism has always been #1, that concern. And when we see the number of Chinese nationals, as well as these Jordanians that are coming into America and then testing our capabilities at these bases, it's clear they're up to something. And you can bet that something is not good.
So data shows that since 2022, more than 350,000 asylum cases filed by migrants have been closed by the U.S. government if the applicants don't have a criminal record or are otherwise not deemed a threat to the country. You've heard it a million times. How do they know if this person has a criminal record? Because they're not getting anything put on their record when they commit even violent crimes or DUIs. They might check a box and say that this person was arrested, but they have no data or no record of the person even existing. They walk through the border, we have no idea who they are, they commit a crime, they get released, no bond, nothing. So there's no way for us to know if they have a criminal record. It's just, oh, yeah, you're here illegally. Yeah, we can go ahead and assume you're not a criminal, even though your first act inside of the border, inside of the continental United States, is a criminal act in itself. This means that while the migrants are not granted or denied asylum, their cases are terminated without a decision on the merits of their asylum claim. They're removed from the legal system and no longer required to check in with the authorities. The move allows them to legally indefinitely roam about the U.S. without fear of deportation, effectively letting them slip through the cracks. And here's just, it's so hard for me and many of us to even comprehend the number. 350,000, there's 17 million, 20 million people in this country illegally. No idea who they are. Free to go, 149,000 here with this graph. With a record number of people seeking asylum in the U.S., the Biden administration is increasingly just letting people go with no decision, meaning that they aren't granted asylum but not deported either. They're just allowed to stay in America with no status. Ghosts, so to speak. They're just ghosts. So the next time you see somebody that's an illegal, they're just a spirit. They don't really exist. If they commit criminal acts, well, if someone were hurt, sorry. Tell your family, that you love them. Our condolences. Your daughter got killed by an illegal, but they don't exist. So, sucks to suck. This is just a massive amnesty under the guise of prosecutorial discretion, according to Andrew Arthur, a former immigration judge who now works for the Center for Immigration Studies. You're basically allowing people who don't have a right to be in the United States to be here indefinitely. ICE officers add that they have seen an increase in cases of such migrants committing crimes after their asylum cases, after they have been dismissed, forcing agents to restart removal proceedings, which typically take years. So what's happening? You give these people amnesty, mass amnesty, 350,000, and they commit a criminal act. Well, through the proceedings required, they have to restart the removal proceedings. So you can understand, even trying to enforce the law with these people, quite frankly, is impossible unless you just straight up deport them, because you have to start an entire another red tape bureaucratic process that is designed to be ineffective. Please let everyone know what's really going on, an ICE officer told the Post. In 2020, during the Trump administration, 48,000 migrants were ordered removed from the U.S. by immigration court judges. Fewer than 20,000 were granted asylum, and 4,700 people had their cases closed or were otherwise allowed to remain in the country, according to data from the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse. Couldn't spit that out. In 2022, under Biden, a memo issued by ICE principal legal advisor Carrie Doyle and seen by the Post instructed prosecutors at the agency to allow cases to be dismissed for migrants who aren't deemed national security threats. How would we know? They make it their job now, under the direction of the Biden administration, their job is to look the other way. We don't need information on these people because we want them here so that they can vote. And people said we were conspiracy theorists because we said that they're trying to get these people in the country to vote. Oh yeah, we're conspiracy theorists. And then next thing you hear is a blue state, a mayor or a governor, is pushing for legislation to be passed that allows undocumented to vote. Their plan's been blatantly obvious the whole time. That year, 36,000 were ordered removed, 32,000 were awarded asylum, and 102,500 had their cases dismissed or otherwise taken off the books, 10 times the number in 2014. In 2023, there were 149,000 cases in the latter category, and so far in financial year 2024, which ends in September, the end of September, the data is certain to surpass that with 114,000 cases closed already. Since Biden assumed office, 77% of asylum seekers have been allowed to remain in the country. That equates to 499,000 of the 648,000 who applied for asylum in the U.S. at that time. So the objective is clear. The plan is clear. We don't even have to... Here, we'll close with this. 𝐁𝐄𝐄𝐍 said, which is a former Washington-based immigration lawyer, said For clients with horrible cases, ones where they are unlikely to ultimately prove they need asylum, that's better than having a deportation order. Once a migrant's case is terminated, the person can reapply for asylum or seek other forms of legal status in the U.S. There's no ramifications for someone entering the country illegally. In fact, they can exist here with no record. Again, like ghosts. So we're witnessing the fall of an empire, and the House GOP released something on March 1st. Surely it would be a lot worse a couple months later. It's just difficult to find this information without sifting through a bunch of BS from the mainstream media. Key facts on how Biden's open borders helped unleash a national crime wave. Remember, the media, left-wing media, state-run media, they would in perpetuity say that immigrants, illegal aliens, are far less likely to commit crimes. In fact, crime goes down when we have a lot of illegal immigration. It's nuts. Makes no sense. They're here illegally. They're committing crimes just being here. So here's what makes it even more difficult. Studies that make claims about the illegal alien crime rate are often deeply flawed. Many jurisdictions simply do not collect or publish data on criminals' immigration status, rendering any definitive conclusions about the crime rate suspect. More importantly, every single crime committed by an inadmissible aliens is preventable, of course. Some data shows that illegal alien crime rates are higher than those of American citizens. Based on publicly available data from border states and others with high illegal alien populations published by the Federal State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, long name, illegal aliens are incarcerated at a much higher rate than citizens and lawfully present aliens. And illegal aliens are typically at least 3 times as likely to be incarcerated than citizens and lawfully present aliens. So it's just propaganda, neurolinguistic programming. Over time, if you hear something so many times that you're racist for pointing out facts, you hear that enough and it continues to be perpetuated, well, you're going to be less likely to speak out, and in fact, you will at some point actually believe the horseshit that you're told. No surprise. And furthermore, and I'll link this press release for the House GOP so you guys can read through this. It's rather long, but it's quite simple. It's quite simple. By October 2023, agents were catching 47 plus aliens with serious criminal histories per day. The deputy chief patrol agent for the Yuma sector told the committee in 2023, any crime that can be committed, we do encounter people who have committed them. Nearly 2 million known and unknown gotaways have crossed without being apprehended. For this population, which exceeds the size of the state of Nebraska, law enforcement has no idea of their identity, criminal background, or intentions. Among them are unknown number of criminals, gang members, or other threats, as those seeking to avoid apprehension pay premium rates for the privilege. And I think I appreciate a lot in this press release from the House GOP. They don't pull any punches, and as a matter of fact, they detail a handful of known criminals who have committed violent acts here, and it really just makes you wake up and think, it doesn't matter if you're in Tennessee or you're Washington State. This is going to touch every part of our society. So, what do we do? What do we do? Well, put simply, impeach Joe Biden, mass deportation. November 5th comes. Donald Trump has already said it'll be the largest deportation project in American history, and it has to happen. How are we even going to deport enough of them? We're not saying that we don't care about people, but what we do care about is the safety of our own citizens. We pay taxes to fund the government, quote unquote, and have no ability to say, hey, you're tanking this country, but here, take my money. I owe my taxes for this year. Here, I'll pay them happily, because otherwise your armed IRS agents will come to my house, bust my door down, and take me to jail or prison or put a lien on all of my properties. So what choice do we have other than to elect Trump and pray to God that we make it to January 20th of next year and continue to expose what Joe Biden is doing to this country? as we saw Trump get found guilty on all 34 filing errors, but they were made felonies. We have Joe Biden authorizing the use of military force in Russia the same day. And then we have this, where millions of people are getting preferential treatment over Americans. And I've got one more thing that I want to show you. This is one of the most disgusting things that I've seen in a long time. We know this to be true. Migrants prioritized for taxpayer-funded assistance over veterans. $452 a month for military families. $1,440 per month for New York City migrant families. So all of this that we've said, all that I've said in the course of this video, it's not conjecture, it's not conspiracy, it's all verified fact. Joe Biden and the 350,000 migrants and amnesty, and them getting preferential treatment over people who served our country and put their life on the line potentially and pay for it every day, mentally and emotionally, and their families. But they get kicked right in the nuts, and it does not matter how much they suffer. They could sell their citizenship, go across the border, and walk right back over and get more money from the government than they do thanks to their military service. Impeach Joe Biden now. It's over. This man is going to put us in the ground or in shackles. So we'll come back with another video. We're going to be monitoring this closely, continue to expose, and just stay frosty, my friends, because this is not going to be good. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, put a comment. If you're on X, share it, repost it, comment, whatever. But this needs to be seen by as many eyes as possible. Thank y'all.